You can't handle the truth.
I told you, man. I told you. Don't fuck with me.
In many ancient cultures there are tales and legends that speak of lizard-like entities communicating with the people. The Hopi Indians of northern Arizona have stories that date back hundreds of years and speak of their snake brothers who built underground cities in Arizona, Mexico, and Central America. In addition, the Toltec Mayan god Nguqu was often referred to as a serpent of wisdom, who played a role in enlightening human beings. The Cherokee and other Native American tribes also have tales that refer to a race of reptiles. In India, a few of their scriptures and legends speak of the Naga, who are reptile beings that live underground, often spending time with humans. Indian texts also refer to a tribe of men called the Sarpa, a reptilian race with snake-like noses and serpentine legs. The reptilian statue at Horyuji Temple, Nara, Japan. The Japanese reptilian being is called Kappa. This statue has been removed from the temple and is in a private collection in an unknown location, so we have been told. This type of statues are found all over the world from Asia to the American continent. They represent a race of beings that lived in the past and certainly still live today among the humanity. What did ancient mankind try to depict with the 7,000-year-old reptilian statues? Did these enigmatic beings really exist on Earth? Or are they the product of abstract ancient art?
Religious issues, biblical texts, and biblical history. But they made a mention of a very mysterious race of creatures that have become known as the Archons. We don't really know what the Archons were, or even are. What's interesting is that there is actually a depiction and a description of the Archons looking definitively reptilian.
They're very robot-like, very machine-like, and therefore very predictable. And given that you see the machine-like nature of so many reptilian animals and what have you in the human society, there is a correlation between the two, and why the reptilian form is so common an expression of this machine-like, unemotional, computer-like mentality.
Is it possible the stories of the Archons really are describing reptilian humanoid beings?
focus on the Garden of Eden story in the Bible, as if it's a one-off, seems to be talking about when humans were created, Adam and Eve. I would strongly suggest from my research that actually it's not talking about that at all. It's talking about the point when human genetics were interfered with and genetically manipulated. And so humans became at that point themselves a hybrid, which had a great infusion, I would suggest, of what I would call Archon genetics, symbolically the serpent in the Garden of Eden.
Are human beings really the product of genetic manipulation by extraterrestrial visitors? And were our ancestors some form of reptilian human hybrid?
The history of Sumerian gods Usumgal, the gods who created the Anunnaki. The Usumgal or Usum-Galu stands for Great Dragon, an alien reptilian race. As per the Sumerian mythology, the Anunnaki and their ancient gods like Anu and Tiamat were gods of the stars. Numerous investigations and thorough research have suggested that the ancient gods of the Anunnaki like Anu are Usumgal, the creators of the Anunnaki. It is believed that the reptilian beings, Usumgal, are the gods who have created the Anunnaki. There is an interesting ancient tale of wars between the gods. Ancient history of the Usumgal. If facts are to be believed, then, in reality, Tiamat and Apsu are the ancient gods of Sumeria. Although, Sumerian mythology is way more complicated and there is a possibility that there could be two different types of force that gave birth to the following ancient gods. Dragons were born from Tiamat, and the dragons were called Musmahu, Usum-Galu, and Basmu. It is believed that Usumgal gave birth to the Anunnaki. The primeval gods were a race of extraterrestrial reptilians called Kingu that arose in the constellation Draco. After Draco, these beings traveled to other constellations like Orion. Anton Parks is an author and he states that on Earth, these ancient aliens made their base in Hyperborea, a legendary land located at the North Pole. Then the time came when the Kingu created the Usumgal, another dragon race with 7 powerful leaders. The strong and mighty leaders of the Usumgal race always envied the power of the Kingu, similar to the story of Lucifer. Ancient gods and genetic engineering. Ancient god, Usumgal were familiar with genetic engineering. The 7th mighty leader of the Usumgal gods, called Anu, was the one who created the Anunnaki. The Sumerian mythology says that, in heaven Anu is on his throne, clothed with all the attributes of sovereignty, the scepter, the diadem, the headdress, the staff. He was the father of the gods, Abu Alani, father of the heavens, A-flat shame. The Anunnaki are said to have been created in the Pleiades, although the prototype, called Som, was created in the Great Bear. Som later became famous as Enki, who rebelled against Anu. Enki is also the one who created Agigi. Then began the cosmic war between the astronomical gods. The Usumgal, along with the Anunnaki, then rebelled against the Kingu and defeated them in our solar system. Tiamat was completely destroyed by Marduk here on Earth, which is also described on Babylonian tablets. However, other extraterrestrial god called Kadistu decided to shut the Dharana or star portals that were placed on Earth, in order to keep the Usumgal locked up here. Numerous Kadistu aliens were also trapped here when the portals were shut, and suffered wars by the Usumgal.
According to the ancient texts, this detailed information was given to them by the Anunnaki, or those who from heaven to earth came. They described the Anunnaki as a reptilian race of gods which came to the earth in fiery ships from their home planet of Nibiru, the 10th planet. It is written that these Anunnaki came to the earth to mine gold and other elements to serve in protecting the atmosphere of their distant home planet. After a workers' revolt, the Anunnaki rulers began to genetically alter Cro-Magnon man to create a slave race, resulting in the human race. It was said that we were created by the gods in clay vessels. It is written that man was forbidden to depict the Anunnaki in their actual form. Just prior to the Great Flood, the bulk of the Anunnaki would return home, leaving numbers of them behind to watch over the earth. Anu was king.
Assigned to Anu to heed his instructions. 300 in the heavens he stationed as a god. The ways of earth to define from the heaven. And on earth 600 he made reside, after he all their instructions had ordered, to to the Anunnaki of heaven and of earth. He allotted their assignments.
This story of reptilian gods from the heavens creating man is not at all uncommon. It in fact can be found in most every region of our planet. In Japan, emperors claim descent from dragon gods who came from the sky. Australian Aborigines teach of a reptilian race which lives underneath the earth and governs over men. They believe they are descendants of a race of dragon human. China teaches the serpent queen Nukua interbred with man. India calls these reptilian gods Nagas and claim they seeded their royal families. Throughout the Middle East, it is believed a serpent race created man. The book of Genesis tells of giants who came from the heavens to breed with the daughters of man. They are called the Nephilim. In Africa, they call them Chitauri, children of the serpent. The royal kings of Africa claim descent from serpent gods who came from the sky. In South America, the Mayans teach that their ancestors were the people of the serpent. The Aztecs were said to be created by a serpent woman. In America, the Hopi Indians believe sky gods came to earth to breed with their women and refer to them as their snake brothers. The word Sioux means snakes, and Iroquois means serpents. It seems the only places you will not find this historical story is where the history has been methodically destroyed. The descendants of King Anu in Sumeria and Babylon can be traced throughout time. The pharaohs of Egypt were from the bloodlines of the Babylonian kings. The rulers of the Roman Empire can be traced to Egyptian hierarchy. All throughout Europe, the royal families can be traced back to the great Roman emperors. 34 of the presidents of the United States are directly descended from European royalty.